Hi, folks. Excuse me. You're with Tacitus today. Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio radio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about something that sort of bubbled up recently, and I've mentioned this a number of times before. For people that listen to this channel regularly, you'll know I have a real thing about corrupting due legal process and how easily and casually and carelessly the deep state does it. It's a useful device for them, of course, to terrorize the rest of us. And we see it happening in the United States, for example, in the way they're going after Donald Trump, and in Britain recently, where someone's talking, an activist was speaking out about how mass migration is replacing white people, and the guy gets thrown into prison for it. Whereas, the Palestinian demonstrators can openly and brazenly call for the eradication of Israel or Jewish people generally, and yet no one touches them. No one's arresting them and putting them in prison. So it seems uniquely only white people can be held to a high legal standard, where the bar of evidence required to bring them to trial is very low, whereas the bar of evidence that they have to meet to defend themselves is very high. So, already a terrible corruption and politicization of the legal process, and openly and brazenly activist judges being given cases where it's known in advance which direction they'll go. And recently there was a judge who put a white guy in prison, and he's a very activist and a member up to his neck in black rights, Black Lives Matter, and all this sort of stuff, that black people have been oppressed, slavery, and that. He's up to his ass in this, and yet he is given race cases to hear, which he 100% finds only in one direction. So obviously the guy's a rabid activist. They know he's an activist, yet he's given these cases, which demonstrates the activism right throughout the court administration, the political class as well. Coming to this issue of in this particular jurisdiction, there's an activist prosecutor, chief prosecutor. Now, you wouldn't think she was, on paper, she doesn't look like a rabid activist. You wouldn't think, but there's something there that's either she's been swayed by it, or she's just a puppet and other people are running the things in there, or she's become an activist, or she was a closet activist, or what, I don't know. But over the last so many years, even before this woman became the chief prosecutor, there's been a marked increase in the amount of rape cases that are being brought to trial. Now, remember that the stakes are pretty high. Someone can go to prison for 10 years or more if they're found guilty. So this is not a trifling matter of a fine or a bit of community service or something. That's not what's at stake here. The stakes are high. People's lives can be completely ruined by it. But there's certainly judges are complaining, and I know some judges where they're complaining about the amount of rape cases they hear is just over the top. There was 10 years ago they would rarely get a rape case. Now rape cases, just let this sink in for a minute. Given all the crimes that go on in the that potentially could attract jail time, so this is a senior court, superior court here. Given all the crimes, the murders and the robberies, armed robbery, assaults and all sorts of crimes, vicious assault, occasioning somebody, putting someone in a state of permanent disability, they can somehow, throughout all of these crimes and all of these things, they can somehow find that allegations of rape now make up the majority. So not part of it, make up the majority of crimes that a court has to hear. So it's gone from being, just a small part of things to suddenly where it's the majority. Now, that's a bit of a shock, and obviously something's changed. Are there more rapes occurring? Has the standard, have the definition of what constitutes rape been expanded? What's changed? Why has it gone from being hardly? Now the activists say, well, we're just not tolerating rape anymore. Rape used to be everybody's getting raped 100 times a day. That's bullshit. It's bullshit. Rape has always been a crime. Always been a crime. It's never not been a crime. Now the definition of what constitutes rape, that has changed a lot. That's changed out of sight. And the majority of cases, which again, where the judges are complaining, the majority of cases that are being brought to the court are technical definitions of rape. There's no violence or holding a gun to a head or anything like that. It's either she drank, as I've said many times before, she drank half a glass of wine too much, which means that technically her consent is no longer. She's consented, fully consensual sexual relations here, but because she had that half glass of wine, that means technically her consent is now meaningless. It has no legal validity, and because the consent is not there, it therefore must be rape. That boy a fucking Nazi. So we've got this technical rape scenario. The other thing is that she maybe had too much to drink. She can't remember what happened. So she can say, well, I don't remember giving my consent. It therefore must be rape. So that's the other category. The last category is where, again, consensual sexual relations, they're involved in the intimate act, and 1 second before he ejaculates, she says stop, and he goes on that 1 second extra and doesn't stop at that point in time. So that 1 second between when she said stop and he climaxed or ejaculated, then that 1 second window, that's rape, and so he's in court. So now there's of course a huge industry around it, women being encouraged to do it. And there's a lot of scenarios where women are encouraged to take this view. You're a oppressed victim, the patriarchy, and those Nazis are everywhere, and you have to fight back against Hitler. And the way you can do that is to accuse some rando guy of being a rapist. Now, the scalps they want aren't the black or the brown men, although they do commit the majority rapes. Well, white people don't commit, white men in proportion that don't commit the sort of anywhere near the number of rapes that the other categories do. But by using technical definitions such as she had half a glass of wine too much, they can get these. Now, there's also scenarios throughout university, and remember, whereas hardly any girls were going to university 50 years ago, today, over half, certainly in Australia, half to pushing 2/3 of the population of young women are going through university. They're all being radicalised. There's epidemics of rapes everywhere, and they may say, "Well, I haven't been raped. No one I know has been raped." But hey, who gives a fuck? Ideologically, we're being told there's an epidemic. So what we should do is we should look for situations where we can get raped, so we too can show the rage and fight back. But the prosecution's departments, they seem to they'll cut plea deals with black and brown perpetrators, who usually they've got dead to rights, but they'll cut plea deals with those. But with white boys, because they're using such technical rape definitions, the white boys, I didn't rape her. It was fully consensual. Yeah, but she had a quarter glass of wine more, and that means you raped her, you fucking damn straight white Christian fucking Nazi. So there's a very ideological take on these cases, and so they're bringing flimsy cases to court, the technical cases, and the judges, for two reasons, are saying, well, not only are these cases flimsy, but you're bringing shitloads of them. Why are there so many? Why suddenly we're being swamped with these flimsy bullshit rape cases? Now, also there's some insane, like women who, there's a woman in her early 20s and she's already brought 10 cases of rape against 10 different men, and yet the Department of Prosecution still takes up the case, still takes it to court. I mean, that's crazy. Now, there's another woman that had, I think it was 7 cases of rape where she claims she's been raped 7 times, and 3 of the men took a plea deal, which means she can say, well, there you go, I was raped. See? But again, the process is the punishment. People can be living under huge stress with massive legal costs for years. And so the prosecutor because it's some brown guy, something prosecuted. Look, we don't, ideologically, you're not the people we're after. We want those straight white Christian males. They're the ones we want. So look, we'll give you 200 hours of community service and pay $1,000 fine, and you're good to go. All right, sign here. But he's now a guilty party. She was raped. Now that's a statistic. This woman was raped, and the guy fucking confessed. But the guy didn't confess. He under huge duress and threat of the stress of years of litigation and being bankrupted by it, he thought, I'll sign a bit of paper and that'll just get these people out of my face. So that's quite different from confessing. So that's the other side of it. Now, the judges have got so irritated by this that a number of them have gone public and said, look, this is crazy. Something needs to be done. Now, it does need to be done. We've got radical activist, ideological, fanatical prosecutors that are taking bullshit rape cases to court just because it's a straight white male, not because it's a case that has any merit. And particularly if it's a Christian, it's like, wow, all resources are available to go and chase a straight white Christian male. So clearly it's ideological scalp chasing. That's all it is. It's nothing more than that. Now, it can be seen ideologically as the sort of the front line of gender power relations, maybe, but and most of this is being pushed by radical lesbian feminists, not by straight women. Interestingly, the majority of prosecutors are straight women. They're not all lesbians. This idea they're all butch lesbian. No, they're straight white women. So this is something to consider ideologically here. Why have these prosecutor departments been so taken up by the ideology? Why are they so desperate to get straight white male, particularly Christian scalps? And why are they much less interested in going after far more severe cases of rape when they're committed by a non-white male? Anyway, so bringing the cases to court. So the judges are speaking out, and I think that needs to be done. To me, it illustrates the politicization and the infiltration of the legal system by activists. But rather than taking that position, the media and the political class, interestingly, have gone the opposite way. Whose fault is it for? Or who are the bad guys? What's going wrong? Where is the dysfunction? Is it with the radical activists in the prosecutor's department chasing after? No, that's not the problem. The problem is that these judges mentioned it, that they brought it to the attention of the public, that they've spoken out. That's the judges are the problem. They're the problem by pointing out the problem. They have the problem. And what this means is that they're bringing the legal system into disrepute. So it's all the judges' fault. And wouldn't you know it, they're all male. All the judges are spoken out male, which means they're all damn fucking fascist fucking Hitler. They're all Hitler personally. So really the problem is the judges. Is it the politicization and the ideological fanaticism of the prosecutors? No, that's not the problem. The problem is people that notice it or point it out. That's the problem. And it's a bit like mass immigration. If you point it out, you're the problem, not the mass immigration itself. So clearly it's a course of action that the globalists and the deep state and their flunky stooge fellow travellers have decided this is a way we can attack white society and undermine its confidence and get at it. And we're going to stay with this. We found this to be, or we think it's an effective way of destroying white society. We're going to stay with it. If you dare point it out, you fucking damn Hitler. If you dare point it out, we'll come after you. I wouldn't be surprised if today these judges are being leaned on to quit. Maybe they're going to be offered juicy jobs or something, so they can be replaced with radicals. That's how bad things are at the moment. You've been with Tacitus today, your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.